Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Scribble Time with Panda. I'm your host, Nolan, and today we are drawing with traditional pen and paper or pencils or crayons or whatever is at our disposal. I realized that when I started in yesterday's stream, I had gotten my days mixed up, and I thought that yesterday was Tuesday, and then didn't realize that I had missed out on doing the traditional sketching Wednesday. So today we're going to switch it around. We're going to have today be just sketching on normal paper, real materials, and I have an interesting thing here, and it looks like a sketch pad, and it certainly is, but it's also an old sketch pad that I have, and I've actually kept a lot of my old sketch pads because, for one, they have a lot of my old drawings in it, so I can look back at how I used to draw and how I developed over the years. But I also had a habit of not being able to finish sketch pads, and I think part of it was, I think this might have been during college when I would doodle a little bit, but then when school gets a little bit busy, then I wasn't able to finish the full pad. So I kept them around because one of the things I liked to do was to I kept them around also because they were unfinished, I would have all this paper that I could use up. So basically I'm just going to do a bunch of sketches, and today's topic is on the farm, and that could just relate to anything that is farm related. I was going to name the topic farm, but it didn't make sense when I was typing out today's theme is farm. It just sounded a little bit weird, so I said on the farm, so we're a little bit more proactive in our theme, in our wording. So one thing I wanted to show was I wanted to go through a little bit and show some of these old sketches that I have, and it's pretty interesting. So like I said, I think this is all from my college days, so everything here is pretty raw, and I used to draw a lot in pencil. You can see here that I was doing some light blue outlines, and then would trace it over with a darker pencil or pen, and I was just trying to figure out anatomy. And it was funny because I wasn't doing this with real models at my disposal. I think I might have been using my hands, but for the most part it's pretty raw. I wanted to learn how to draw female faces really well, because that's the thing I think is one of the harder things to get right. If you're just slightly off in making a basic female face, at least in the traditional cartoony style, if you're just off by a little bit, it looks a little bit wonky. And in this case, it is pretty wonky. I have a Spider-Man crawling on the side on the edge of the page. I have a guy moping with a sword in his back, and I have a Winnie the Pooh with the same hairstyle as the girl for some reason. Interesting. I think that's Winnie the Pooh. Here are some other ink drawings where I would get very frustrated with myself as I was drawing. I would just sketch it, and then as soon as it didn't look right, I just abandoned the drawing. So I had some hard foreshortening here, and it's really interesting going back because I actually don't have any recollection of making these drawings anymore. So in some ways they're acting like a new source of inspiration for me. And so when I see them, I can kind of get ideas for what to do. And I'm just going to go through a few more because I think there's a few pages here. But I just want to show that if any of you are just starting out how to draw, and maybe you're starting out and you're just having, you're not feeling as confident in your work, I've been there. I've been there, and you can see how many drawings I have here that just aren't really, I'm a little bit embarrassed to show them, but I'm glad to just go through this because it's a real educational experience for me. Yeah, so I have also let's see here, I also have some ninja drawings. Not sure who this character is, but I could communicate some stuff, right? Like it looks like a ninja warrior, assassin type of person, or a sneaking person. Doesn't have to be assassin. He doesn't have to be a jerk. Has some kind of Chinese food dog dragon here. I have like a Zeus type of character here. It's really great. So, but this is one of the things is like as you get better, you just keep throwing out these ideas. And one of the things I learned later on, after probably later after I was made these drawings, was to just you just had to get those rough edges out of you. You just gotta do the mileage and just put it in the drawings, and it's like you have to push yourself to just finish it. Here's another instances where I was just trying to get the face of my female character right, and I think it's pretty obvious, I think, to me right off the bat. I think one of the things I really had problems with is not putting things on a three-dimensional form. So a lot what happened was like the eyeball just ended up bulging out of the form, and I wasn't really thinking about that, and just bugged me, I guess, like when I look at this. Some more here, and I just wanted to get the face down versus actually like finishing up with the hair and everything. I think this is the last one, but I actually really like this. I think in my preference, I probably would lower the horizon just a little bit, so it's about at a third. But actually, what we can do here will be interesting. So like, so I'm just gonna do like a little drawing here just to show how I would tackle it, and just to kind of just show I'm not being a fancy pants artist. I'm just going to go through and use I'm just going to use a crayon, simple crayon. This is Cerulean from Crayola, of course. I'm joking. So basically just put your form here, right? That is one of the things I learned when I was drawing comics. Is just just try to get things, just practice getting things on balanced. And one thing I sometimes forgot was to put the head on, was to balance the head. Like I would sometimes put the neck out here, and it would just look a little bit goofy. And sometimes that happened because you're just staring at the screen or the drawing for too long. And so I think with the traditional cartoony head, they would have the eye a little bit lowered a bit, because sometimes I would just draw the character at the halfway point, which I guess I was doing here, but there isn't any minimizing of any spaces here. So for example, like this woman's, the space between her eyebrows and her eyes seems about the same distance as the distance between her below her eye and her nose. So I use a lot of these arbitrary markers to kind of just make things where I kind of just see the general spacing of things. And so what I'm gonna do is this is it's a pretty rough crayon, so I can't find my point. That's okay. I'm just gonna just do a quick drawing here just to kind of show what I would do instead. And it's funny because this edge is getting away from me, so I don't really know where I'm drawing. But I'm always like looking at shape. I'm always looking at how things are proportioned. There is a lower eyelid to the eye. It's not just always on the top, as I have here. And one thing I really appreciate these days that I'm starting to put into my own work is actually like adding some more volume to the eyebrows, because I think in a lot of the cartoons I drew, I would just do these pencil thin eyebrows, and I think part of it's just force of habit. But and I think like, if you give a woman two bushy eyebrows, it's just gonna make her look kind of hairy. But I actually like doing full eyebrows. They're still relatively thin compared to the volume of the eye, but you can learn how to be bold in certain ways. And then of course I would just like add some hair, and hair kind of comes up into a volume like so, and so then you can just get probably maybe, let me just thin out the neck just a little bit, and then so that's how I would approach. And I'm not too worried about like just the details and stuff. I'm just trying to just get the general forms. Maybe I could just bring this a little bit down further. And so that's kind of cool just to see like how I would approach it. And when you see them side by side, you get to see how they look. I think these days I don't know why, but I kind of like having flat pupils. I don't really like drawing like the highlight and stuff because I think it just, I don't know, it kind of makes things a little bit too Disney-fied. But you know, it's depends on what the client wants to. But I like my style having a little bit more of a flatter feel to it, personally. So anyways, that is how I would approach, just as example, just doing a drawing right next to the old ones. So let's go back. Let's go into the actual theme today. So today's theme is all about on the farm. And so I see Hector's in the chat. Welcome, Hector. And you are going to, so we have 3 topics, 3 suggestions right now. We have a collie panda, sheep panda. So it's not exactly that. Yeah, so I'm going to just use those prompts and draw something. I'm going to use something probably a little bit more. Let's see what we got here. I'm just going to reach in to my tub of random pens and pencils. So let's look at this monstrosity here. What can we use? We can use, so I got everything from like a pair of scissors to a marker, waterproof pigment ink, calligraphy. You know what? I haven't used this before. Yeah, I don't know. Some of these pens, I really don't know how I got them. Here's obviously my rough pencil that I use, my mechanical. Let me just put it there. I won't use it too much today. We also have mechanical pencils. We have a hotel pencil. So I'm gonna go with something like yeah. So I hope you guys found that was pretty interesting. I don't want to use I might not use the fancy pants markers because I don't want to make it feel like, because I know some people who are watching this may think that they need a fancy pants marker to draw, but really just need, you know, I could use, here, let's use a ballpoint pen too. Throw that in there. This is like a $1 pen I got from I think from Daiso or something when I was going to visit there. So it's like just a cheap felt pen. Let's throw in another ballpoint. Yeah, let's see what we have here. Now I have oh, that one's broken. I feel like Mr. Rogers because he would sometimes do like these crafts and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, let's see what we have in our drawer." Although he's not nearly as sloppy as me. So let's take a look at. Let's try using the felt marker. Let's just test here. Ooh, that's super dry. You know, maybe I can actually use that to sketch out some things. How about we do something like, I'm just gonna, okay, so by the way, I am going to offer these sketches as yeah, so I'll be offering these sketches on Instagram and other places. Just, you know, if you guys want to purchase them, just name your price and I'll ship it out to you for free. You know, it's on me. So so I'm gonna do a collie panda based on what Hector had suggested, and usually collie it's a bit fuzzy guy. Let me try, what could I do with the collie? I think I don't know, maybe I want to make it feel like farm themed and make it actually feel like a farm. So this marker is just super dried out. I actually don't think if there's a recharge capsule. Let me just double check. Yep, doesn't look, oh, there's not even a capsule at all. Wait. I think there's supposed to be a cartridge in here. And as you could tell, there is no cartridge. So yeah, we're kind of shooting with blanks here. Let's use, how about we, oh, that's funny. All right, well, this pen is, I guess that pen's toast. Let's use this Zig Calligraphy Extra pen. Don't worry, I don't think it's I don't know if it's a fancy smash pen, but it does have a chisel pen point to it, so it's got that going for it. So I'm gonna draw with, so it's got a chisel point to it, so it's got a little bit of a, I'm just gonna do the thicker one. I think for sketching I like doing working with a thicker edge. So I'm going to and it's also kind of dried out too, so let's see here. I'm gonna let's just do a test one here. Okay, so obviously the thickness changes based upon how you use it, and you know, when you're putting down lines, I actually don't draw with the chisel point all too often, so this is actually going to be interesting to work with. But maybe even though I don't have experience with it, I'm going to try to use some of my sensibilities in order to figure out how to use this effectively. So I guess the way to go about it is that on the bigger, broader lines, you want to add the chisel variation, and on like finer details like that, it's okay to kind of just, you know, draw a little bit on the edge so you get a little bit more pointed feel to it. So I'm going to just do a quick one here. This isn't really this is kind of like a baseline, but you can kind of see how like the line is definitely, the edge is definitely under a different type of control. So if I want to just do something very tight, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So okay, so you get to see there. I'm just going to do just a default Panda just to try this out, just see how this feels. Okay, so we got that, right? So we can already see that just if I try to just fidget and just massage that line a little bit, it's a little bit difficult to do because there's so much variation in the chisel point that you have to basically, when I throw down the mark, I got to throw it down as confident as I can. So let's go to the next page and try that again with this one. So you're seeing me kind of struggle a little bit with this pencil, but with this pen, but it's all good. So I think with let's have our Panda just do, you know, we'll have a collie Panda, so we'll make it we'll have our Panda kind of running here. All right, so this will be, and collies like to chase sheep, if I'm correct. So basically a sheepdog. So we're gonna go through with that. Okay. Add this little tongue there. And then we'll add okay, so then let's try adding a little bit of a dark variation here. And I'm going to kind of treat there's not going to be a band, but there's going to be kind of an area where okay, so we're going to do that. Maybe just, I don't know how much I want to shade this. Because challenges to make sure that you don't get too dark in some of these areas because of how opaque this pen is. Because right now, like, the opacity is kind of tripping out on me. So you want to make sure that it's you want to kind of be in control, but at least have a little bit of play to kind of see how this is going to work out. Okay, and I think what did their tails look like? I think they have like kind of long tails. Yeah, about. Not like a fox, but you know. Anyway, so thanks Hector for the suggestion. And then we'll have a hey Zap, welcome. Zap says hello in the chat. Drawing with traditional materials today. So let's do that, and then let's have the let's have him chasing a sheep, right? So a sheep would be like because that's what a collie does. Okay, and then I'll sign it like so. My very, boy, that is pretty rough. Well, anyways, I will scan these drawings and put them in onto the website for future coloring purposes. So next, let's try a ballpoint pen. This is says Jetstream on it. Don't know where that's from. It's made by Uni though, so it's a Uni ballpoint pen. So let's try a different one where I'm gonna try working with so I guess I put a collie panda and a sheep panda. So I guess we I include the sheep. So let's draw a panda as a sheep. We can do. So I'm just going to treat this like sort of like a pencil. Kind of do some sketching. So it's like I'm not too concerned with how exact my lines are, because I'm just trying to feel out just the basic form. And really, that's when drawing became a little bit more, when it becomes most enjoyable for me, is when it's just me just in this discovery mode where I'm not really worried about the final product. I'm kind of working on a commission right now, and I'm just like, I'm basically wrestling constantly with trying to make it have that feeling of discovered, of like I'm trying to figure things out, and getting the joy from that, and also like putting down like a really good line, because like it's kind of it's a challenging one. It's got like, I think it's got like 16 people in it. It's like it's cool. It's a cool arrangement, and I think it's hopefully they'll like it. But me, instead of me just trying to draw it and just like be like, okay, this drawing is like me just representing the people that are on the page. I wanted to just like have it really sing. I just want like a lot of energy in it. Basically, it's just a room full of people just hanging out and doing different activities, and I just want it to feel like the drawing just comes alive. And so basically I'm just going back and kind of just going over some of those other lines that I had placed before. So it's, in a way, it's like the more lines are in the area, the more unsure I am of what I'm trying to put down. So okay, so we got because I'm trying to do something like a really chubby, fluffy panda. So the trick is with the ballpoint pen, I find, is that it's about it's like pencil, right? Sometimes when you're drawing with pencil and you're like, here's a good example. When you're drawing with a pencil and you're not really, you're kind of trying to make really dark areas. You try to you kind of just like scribble for a little bit and stop. But if you're not thorough enough, I think if you really want to get some darks in there, you have to just like get rid of all these like white spots. If you really, really want to get it dark. So that's part of it. It's just me just going down here and just like refining and just being more precise and getting it super dark like so. And so that helps to make it feel more higher contrast, because the ballpoint pen is so thin, it's not really, there's not really any high contrast. Like you have to put down a lot more in order to make it feel like it's really going to show up. So when you shade, you have to be pretty, you also should be very just be under control, but not too under control. Although this is going to be a bit of a tight drawing, so I do recognize that. But at least with things like like the feet here, it looks a little bit messy, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, really darken that up, just get it in there and just try to be as deliberate as I can. Okay. And I like to just draw in a pretty consistent stroke when I'm doing shading like this, because it just looks a little bit better. I kind of just did a little bit of cross hatching, but I didn't, kind of stop myself right then when I realized it wasn't looking quite right. All right, so you notice that I'm just being pretty, that's why it's a little bit easier to draw this with a thicker brush, because you can throw down a line a lot quicker and you don't have to worry about, maybe I could just go like that. Yeah, you just throw down a line like so. And I'm just going to shade this glove just a little. Maybe I'll add a little tail. People like it when they have the tail, even though technically you wouldn't see it because it'll be like somewhere right here, but well, nah, just leave it. I'll leave it. Yeah, I'll leave it. Okay. Maybe I need to well, I kind of shot myself in the foot here because I forgot to put the ear on this side. So I'm kind of creating a little bit of a tangent. So I'm going to try to work around this here. Let's make that ear a little bit darker so I can get, so that means I have to go on this side and match it. Alright, we got our fluffy sheep. Okay, sign it. Next we're gonna do let's do like that traditional, what's that painting called? I think that's the American Gothic, I think. Okay. I think we can do. This is like recreating a real painting. So I think the painting is in portrait. So let's do that. Although the proportion's actually pretty square, so I'm gonna try to make it feel like it's not too exact. Let's try going like so. How about, or let's try a different medium. So this time we did ballpoint. We did like a calligraphy pen. Let's try going with something a little bit more, maybe more fancy pens. I don't know. There's a lot of ballpoint pens in here, so I'm gonna try to go with something a little bit different. A highlighter? No, that's the dried up pen we were using earlier. So I'm gonna go with. Are any of these pencils sharpened? Come on. All right, that one's not sharpened. That one is sharpened. Okay, so this is with a black wing, a Palomino black wing. So it's a softer lead, 602. Let's go with this. I need to draw more with these guys. Okay. So I have pack here. I'll be a little bit facing the camera. I'm going to leave some edge off the side so that if I have to trim this later, I'll have the flexibility to do that versus like drawing all the way to the corner. So already like I'm kind of, my baseline's a little bit thrown off because of how hard and how janky the ballpoint drawing with the ballpoint pen is. So like as soon as I start jumping on this, it's like it's so soft. It's like I have to kind of pull back a little bit. Okay, so I'm just gonna put down the I have to make sure that the placement of the pitchfork is gonna not interfere with the silhouette of the characters. So we're gonna go like, because I don't want to create any weird tangents or anything like that. So that's something I'm thinking about right about now. Obviously, I'm just only going to do the surface. The things that you would notice on the surface. There's other things that I would probably need to take more time to do in order to get the accurate feeling of the message that's being presented in this piece. So probably not something that, actually, as I'm going through this, I'm already realizing just how probably how bad of an idea is to start off with this piece. But we must go on. Okay, so he's gonna wear a jacket like that. He's got his overalls here. Then Petunia's gonna be like, she's always the optimist, and she always seems to be smiling, so I'm just going to add just a tiny bit of smile, even though the wife in the original isn't really smiling. So I'm just going to do that. Going to just erase just a slightly bit. I remember listening to like some history about when they would look at Mozart's old music. In other musicians, they would be able to spot corrections in the drawings I mean, in the sheet music. But when they look at Mozart's music, like I think there's like little to no corrections at all. So basically they're surmising, the way that he works is that he's thinking of all this in his head, which is insane. It's like like the amount of focus that you have to do that is very impressive. I would like to be able to have that focus, although I'm probably not the person to. I think in this day and age, focus is definitely something that you have to practice. And right now I'm kind of having a tough time doing that on a consistent basis, but you work with what you have every day, and you just got to treat each other well, and at the same time it's not just about you. So if you have other responsibilities and things that need to attend to, don't get frustrated when the world doesn't revolve around you, which is very true if you're a parent. Let me just state that out. Okay, I'm gonna assume, I don't know what the bottom half of this character looks like, but I'm gonna assume that he's gonna be a farmer, like so. He has a pitchfork, like so. And then we're going to add that little farmhouse at the beginning, which is... Actually, whenever I see this piece, I'm always reminded of The Music Man, because there's in one of the opening songs where Professor Harold Hill goes and meets the people. There's they have a little montage, and then they actually have like a call out to this piece where this couple is like, they go out and let's see, where they go out and sing about how grumpy or how stubborn Iowans are. My son has taken a liking to the song, the Rock Island Railway, I think. So it's like old school rap, like old school, like dune buggy or cart and buggy rap. I don't know. I really like that musical. It's still stuck with. It's still something that I still sing to a lot. I think it tells a pretty interesting story. And there's some pretty good charm in it. All right. Well, thank you, Zep. I could only attempt to be as a fraction as talented as Mr. Wood. Yes. Hello? Oh, did my adapter come? Excellent. I'm gonna plug.
I did it.
Oh, did it work?
Yeah, this is the cord.
Oh.
Like this part.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. The sound you hear is of Owen coming in and kicking all the toys that are all on the floor. Somebody isn't picking up their toys. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through and just do like a quick. I'm just gonna keep this. Let's just go a little bit faster, and so that there's a little bit more life in this drawing. Okay, because I think when I go slow down and kind of just like noodle over some of these lines, it feels like a little bit dead. So I always think maybe that's probably a bad idea right there, that thumb. But, it's alright. So I'm always looking at these shapes, trying to get something that feels pretty defined, not trying to remove some ambiguity from some of these areas that need to be a bit more specified. Sometimes your eye just gets drawn to these like really flat spots for some reason, like when you just don't render something as clearly. But if there's a lot of noise, then if you're able to just control where you put your contrast and your emphasis, then you might be able to get away with it. Okay, so I'm just going through. All right. Oh, father and daughter. Oh, I guess. Ooh. Shows you how well I know my art history. Well, that's a misnomer. So I'm just gonna continue with the piece. So thanks, Zap, for pointing out how wrong I am about this piece. Oh boy. Well, I did see, it was actually interesting because like I was on Instagram yesterday, and I saw that there was a ad that was by Xfinity, and it was celebrating Asian Americans in cinema, and they said like, yeah, we want to just recognize Asian Americans in film, and as the text was going by, I didn't have the sound on, but the drawing set, they're showing this guy drawing in the background, like they showed like this guy making drawings on a piece of paper like this, and it was Jung Ji, and it was like, Jung Ji is not American. I know what you're trying to do, but it's like, can a simple Google search kind of tell you that this guy, like, he doesn't even speak English? I mean, he's like he's a god in art, but I'm like, he kind of like, I bet it was like some intern or something like that. Someone was like, hey, let's do something to recognize Asian Americans, and it's like they just did a Google search for like artists, and like, of course, he's like one of the top guys out there, but it's like, he's not considered Asian American. And you could definitely, you kind of tell, because like once you go into the comments, it's like everybody's like, this guy's Korean. So I thought it was kind of funny. So just an example of being a little bit misinformed. So I'm basically kind of trashing myself on that regard. Okay, so I'm putting that on this piece of paper, by the way. It's all dry, so there's no issues with it being staining, but I'm doing it so that it prevents me from smudging the pencils. But this is a pretty loose drawing, so I'm just gonna go through and continue just sketching out. It's kind of an interesting dress because it's got these little dots on it. I guess it's like, I don't know, maybe just... let's see. I'm just going to just put in the pattern as much as I can without it feeling very like overwhelming, but give her just a black sleeve. And it's like, daughter, yes, Dad. Say cheese, cheese. You smile too much. Yes, Dad. Although I probably don't. This could probably be like, Zap. You probably could just like Google for me, just figure out where would this father-daughter be residing. Are they like from Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas? Because that accent could definitely differ from region to region. I don't even know how I would make a Missourian, or say Missourian accent. I was thinking about it the other day about like, have my pandas gotten into every state in the U.S.? Certainly, I've gone to Florida, been in Arkansas. I sometimes see, every now and then I'll go and check my analytics to see like where people are looking at this, and I think there's still a lot of states that it hasn't showed up in. But I was in Dallas, so of course it's in Dallas. But I always wonder like, what about places like Missouri? I know like it's been in, like I have one of my fans. She's a big supporter. To Sharon, I think, and she's in North Dakota, and I'm like, there's probably more North Dakota, more pandas in North Dakota than there are like in let's say, I don't know, Louisiana. Louisiana. I'm sure of that. Okay. Let's just shade this just a little bit, because I think this is also pretty black too. So I'm just gonna go through and darken this all. Well, this is definitely not a very high volume stream, but it's okay. And I'm just gonna clean up these lines here. So if you guys are interested in this sketch, you can just name your price, and I'll post it up on Instagram later today. I think I'm a little bit behind in my posts, but once it goes up, you guys can get notifications and see like when it comes up. So if you guys do want to get the sketch, I'll just it'll just be the one who first DMs me who wants the piece. So I haven't sold a lot, but a lot of these sketches, but I sold a bit to the ones to contribute to my nephew's health fund. So thank you for that. It's much appreciated. And yeah, my nephew's doing really well. It's just no sports for another few weeks. No contact sports. Not that there are a lot of contact sports happening, but you get the gist. Okay. All right, so there we go. So there's Panda Gothic. Call it Panda Gothic. I feel like I just want to just knock this whole thing black. I don't know. Maybe we can try. It's getting a little bit late in the show, so I'll take another pass at it like this. And just blacken it up with the edge of the pencil here, and just try to get a rein on these values. If I were to do this in a more tighter style, obviously I wouldn't be so like, you know, I wouldn't kind of be all over the place. You know, because I'm kind of being pretty, I'm kind of just being a bit blunt with this. But for the sake of this sketch, it's, you know, just do this because it's a quick sketch. All right, so yeah, you have it. American Gothic. Panda Gothic. All right, so let's just sign it there. Okay. Oh, so Iowa. Well, in that case, I don't think I've been in Iowa before. No, I have been through Missouri. I have done a road trip where I went cross country from Seattle all the way to Toronto. I actually made that trip twice, believe it or not. One going through I-90 and the other one going on Interstate 1 in Canada. That was a lot of fun, actually. Both trips were pretty fun. Okay, so let's do one more farming one. How about panda milking a cow? Okay, so I'm just gonna go through with just a ballpoint pen. This time it's it's the same one. Here, I'll go with a cheap one like so. You know, this guy, classic Bic. Let's see if it actually works. Yeah, it's still got some in there. All right, we'll find out how well this goes. Ugh. I hate drawing with these. I mean, I gotta channel my inner sixth grader. Start drawing with these. I'm just gonna do a very stereotypical farmer. Mr. Farmer Panda. How about that? To be honest, I actually think it's kind of funny that we we get to pick people milking cows on kids shows. I think so. You're wrong. I'm like, I don't know, just natural part of life, right? oh yeah, he's got to wear overalls. Got to do the whole. Make this as stereotypical a farmer as we could think of. Let's give him overalls. Let's give him give him some straw to chew on. Bessie here's been with us for many seasons. Wow, she's fed all of our kids with her milk buttered our pancakes. So like going into another Texan accent. But you know what? Those people are the ones that make our food, you know. And for that, I tip my hat to them. Because I would be very terrible at growing food. So I'm very thankful for people who can do that job and do it well. Actually, I'll probably just make it more chubby like that. Okay. All right, so we got a cow. Let's see. Oh, of course I gotta put the pail in. Look at that. Okay, got our cow hoof hair. It's like now I have to get into the the bovine anatomy part where I'm just like, oh, I gotta remember, I can't just slough off on this. I was like, well, should I have the cow bend her leg? And I'm like, well, cows don't really like bending their legs, I guess, when they're being milked. It's kind of like, it's like, stop moving. Yeah, I'm just gonna do just a quick sketch here because we're just kind of running out of time, but and this ballpoint pen is definitely pretty dry. But I'm gonna just make do with the best I can. So as you guys are coloring this, just use your imagination. Let's just say that, okay? Use your imagination. Doesn't have to be the best drawing. It just kind of has to make sense. So there's a lot about this drawing that isn't making sense. Pandas don't drink milk, right? Oh, I made a tangent. How about that? Darn. Alright, so there we go. So I probably would just crop out that top part here and just... Yeah, drawing with colored pencils is pretty... Or with the ballpoint pen, it can be pretty challenging. Just kind of have to... But you know what? I gotta put this thing out here, so... Alright, so there we go. Farm animals, panda, done. Alright, you guys have a great rest of the day, so thanks for sticking with me for this last hour. Really had a lot of fun just drawing with these traditional pieces, and I'll scan them and post them on my site as punchingpandas/scribbletime. And these are, since they're sketches and I don't like having sketches sitting around my house, these will be available for sale. So all you gotta do is just DM me once I post them to Instagram, and just say which one you want and name your price, and I'll ship it out to you guys for free. So these measure about this is like a 9x12 sheet, so I'll trim it down to about 8x10. So anyways, you guys have a great rest of the day, and go check out punchingpandas.com for more goodies, and we'll see you guys tomorrow at 2 p.m. Although today I was a little bit late for a few reasons. So we'll see you guys around. Have a great one. Bye.